Hello, everybody. Greetings. Welcome to the show. Uh, I need to start counting my episodes so I know like episode number. but welcome to the show of the Betterism Podcast. It's your girl Lachey Taylor, and please forgive me. It's been a super long day, but I'm gonna do my best to bring the energy that I always bring every week, especially since who I have on, which is my brother Matthew Pierce. Um, this is someone that I met in, I believe it was Bobby Smith's community. Bobby Smith was doing challenges. I think it was like fruit and herbs challenge. I wasn't a part of the first one, but I do believe I ended up joining the following ones. And Matt was a part of that crew along with a whole bunch of others. Always loved his energy, super laid back, super loving, super supportive, always willing to extend himself when you're struggling, if you're going through anything. I've never met somebody who was just so warm and welcoming and just like such a dope, genuine spirit. So that is Matthew. So I'm going to bring him on and we're going to have a dope discussion today. You know, we have conversations. I don't do interviews, but we're going to have a really good conversation because we all started in this fruit up health community and we're all evolving in our own special ways. So let me get him on right now. Let me unmute your mic. Hey Matt, how are you?
Gratitude, sis. How you doing? I'm doing real good. Thank you making me all cheesy, Thank you.
Oh,
I
all
appreciate your
class.
words. No, but I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little tired to be honest. Um, but I'm good. I'm good. I just watched you and Tiger's show with Vontae, and I thought that was a beautiful build, especially the message behind that or the intention behind it. The fact that you're being intentional about creating a platform for men and like really putting emphasis on brotherhood and speaking to men's development and growth, spiritually, physically, holistically in general. I think that's super dope. um so I love what you're doing in the community, and it just seems like it's only going to continue to evolve. But for people who don't know you too well on my platform, tell us a little bit about who Matthew Pierce is, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, sure thing. First and foremost, I think I'm just another one trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? I just like to enjoy life, and I'd like to have fun and be at peace. You know what I mean? I really just want to spread the message of health and love around and give love back to the world the way it was shown to me. You know what I mean? In my last conversation, I talked about how the way I am came from how I was raised by two individuals, being my mother and my grandmother, and they just showed me, such a beautiful way of living. Because when you give, they always say stuff like, when you give, that's how you live and that's how you love. Love doesn't have to look like anything. Love doesn't expect anything back. But when you give love, that's how you find true happiness and peace within yourself. And I just want to return that love that I got, to everything that I come in contact with, and that's my mission, and that's what I strive to do every day. Um, and I think first and foremost too, I'm a son, I'm an older brother. You know what I mean, and I just try to be the best son and older brother I could be as an example to them. What I can do to better myself every single day as a man, just growing and navigating this life that we live, and especially the new lifestyle that I live. And every day's a new challenge, but try to meet that challenge with the same grace and the same love that I was talking about. So I guess that's a nutshell.
Absolutely beautiful. Well said. Um, so yeah, I know you because we were all challenging ourselves to be cleaning out our bodies and just like developing a deeper connection with ourselves to getting more in tune with our spirit. For me, I definitely know that when I am cleansing physically, it does also dub as like a spiritual cleansing
Yeah.
because I can just actually feel more connected to my spirit because I don't have as much debris and blockages
Hmm.
holding me down.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have community and to be able to connect with like-minded people while going through a journey like that, because we're all un what's the word I'm looking for? Like we're all
You're
un
unlearning.
like unlearning,
Yeah.
and we are releasing a lot. I want to say unbagging, but that's not a word. You know, like when
Shedding, like shedding.
yeah, like just like getting rid of all of our junk, to
Yeah.
the best of
Yeah.
our ability and just working and weaving through it. So
Eliminating.
yeah. So I met you like in that space. And, for a long time, we're all like really committed to the journey and to the path. And I don't think that we're ever going to evolve away from being holistically well, like
Mm.
focusing on keeping our bodies healthy, in whichever way or avenue that may be. Definitely being as close to nature is always going to be the key. Um, so the fruits, the vegetables, getting outside in the sun, being in tune with nature, planting our feet on the ground, having healthy friendships and relationships, and all of that. These are all the things that we do, as you guys are talking about in the show: meditating, breath work, movement, yoga, like all these different ways that we can connect with ourselves to be a higher version of ourselves and to just be the most authentic version of ourselves. But with that being said, I know that I had like a personal conversation with you, and we were talking about like sometimes there's like a season for that cleansing and for all the fruit and for even all raw and all of that. And then there is like that season where you just want to ground and you just want to be not as, I guess, perfect in a sense, especially in our unnatural world. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, where are you now from like when I first met you? Because I know personally, like I'm eating cooked foods. I still eat fruits. I'm in the gym. I haven't been in the gym as consistently as I should be, but I've been getting back in there.
Put in that work when you can get it in. It's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's just even when we did first meet, which is I think it's coming up about a year since we've known each other. But I even back then I never really subscribed to a label. You know what I mean? I was just doing what I needed to do for me at the time. Like I was um in a state where I really needed to, again, like you said, eliminate a lot of things for me. I needed to release a lot. I needed to get right in that way, and a lot of it was spiritual, so I didn't care about what the physical looked like. I didn't care what happened to my body. I was surrendering to higher self and to unknown things, and just letting myself go through that. And I'm kind of doing the same thing now. I'm surrendering to more unknown things. Like I went well, you hit it perfectly on the head when you talked about seasons, but I view that as a season of my life. You know what I mean? Not necessarily like obviously we always preach eating with the seasons and eating in nature and things like that, which is so important. But what's more important to me is to just meet yourself where you are, and meet yourself what you need to do to be a better version of yourself. And I mean that's what your whole podcast is about, right? Just being a better version every day. So in learning myself, I was at the point where I realized I was done with my detox. You know what I mean? I needed to put back on good healthy weight. So yeah, I eat cooked meals, and not all the time and not even regularly, but when I feel like my body needs a little bit more, like I'm trying to traverse the unknown of how to put healthy weight back on, because I did detox a lot of me. You know what I mean? I weigh not a lot. I'm a smaller frame. I lost a lot of muscle, and I have to be real with myself and realize that it's going to be a process. Like, it's not really a linear approach. I have to try things. I have to continue experimenting the best ways for me that are going to work. You know what I mean? Whether that's cooked meals, whether that's staying fully raw. But I'm just right now in my experimental phase of the best way that looks for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I never subscribe to a label other than I'm just myself, and I'm just learning myself still every single day. And by no means am I unhealthy in my practice or what I put into my body, but at the same time, what people may have a stigma of health in a certain way in terms of extremes, like, yeah, I put cooked meals in my body, like, and I know that they're uh not bad, you know what I mean? I know that these things that I used to think, not myself personally, but I never really demonized things like that. Like, it was more just I know that there's stigmas that exist, but it's really just about, again, like, I hear you talk about it a lot. What do you deem as healthy practice? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out here eating bad. I'm not out here thinking bad. I'm not out here having a unhealthy practice, but I'm doing what works for me. And right now, what works for me is the experimentation of new things to see what I can do to better myself and get healthy weight back on me. Because I finished my detoxing phase and now I'm trying to build good, healthy muscle and weight back on.
Right. It's really about developing a relationship with your body. And
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
what it boils down to, because like you said, you're in your experimentation phase. So you're trying it this way. And then you may feel like, okay, like I think this has served me as far as it can. And now I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna focus here. Like, and that's really what life should be about, instead of putting ourselves in boxes and like having a really dogmatic view. I mean, unless that is what you want for yourself, and that's
Yeah.
okay too. But it's okay to not be that way too. It's okay to be fluid, and to it's okay to even make a so-called bad choice, like a low frequency choice. Then why is it okay? Because there's always lessons to be learned from stuff like that.
Mhm.
So there's never really a right or a wrong. There are experiences, and there are the effect to every cause. At the end of the day, like I always say, everything is everything. It just depends on what side of the pole you're on, like
Yeah.
the law of polarity. It's
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
same thing. It really is. It's just, are you on the left side of that pole, or are you on the right side of that pole? Either way, the pole is
Yes.
the pole. Like,
Right.
and it's just one pole. So it's like, it's okay to like be like, yes, like I've been in my cleansing detoxification phase, and I've started seeing more and more a lot of people posting online, that's in the fruitarian community specifically, starting to say that they started feeling better. And some people were even raw vegans. They started feeling better moving away from only eating sweet fruit, because they're
Hmm.
starting to feel like their health wasn't getting any better. And then, like, I seen someone recently, I think of Sky Conway. She just put out a video saying how because she's like very 100% raw vegan for health reasons.
Hmm.
She doesn't have a stomach, and something like that. And she looks great. She's had a great journey, but now I guess she's doing like keto raw vegan,
Okay.
because she said that eating all the fruits wasn't good for like her mast cell, whatever it is that she's healing from,
Okay.
and made a lot of progress. So I'm starting to see more of that though. A lot of long-term fruitarians are starting to say that they had to start incorporating other things, and then they would instantly start to feel better. And these are people who've been doing this for a multitude of years, you
Right.
know. And I don't know, like, everybody's experience is individualistic, and I only mention all of that to say that you don't have to live by a label, because soon as you are not living by that label, your ego takes a hit, and then it starts to affect your mental health, and then you start to be in your head about it, and then you can go into a little mini depression and like all this stuff. And I feel like you can literally start to develop an obsession with food, like literally always thinking about food, like just always thinking about it, like and that's not normal. Like, whether it's good food or bad food, you shouldn't always be thinking about food.
Hmm.
It was just a source of fuel, period.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be getting up in the morning struggling with whether we're gonna eat fruit or a baconator, like we
Yeah.
like, you should just get up, ready to be grateful for what's ahead for the day, get down into prayer or meditation or whatever it is, like just like locked in on our vision or our
Mhm.
direction. Where are we, like, are we moving towards our ultimate goal in life? And it's okay to have a season where you are locked in on your health goals and you do have to obsess a little bit over the food, but it's really easy to get stuck in that. And we have to learn how to evolve past it and know that what we've been practicing, just have faith that what we're doing is good for ourselves, and we should be able to multitask in thought,
Yeah.
can become obsessive.
Yeah, very much. I did struggle with that for a while, like kind of like I kind of formed, you know what I mean? Like I had an identity that kind of formed out of nowhere that I was like, I don't really know. Like, I'm not even beginning to think for myself anymore, really. Like, you know what I mean? I'm on kind of like an autopilot. Like I feel like I have to do something. You know what I mean? And not that I wasn't enjoying it. Like I still eat probably like 98% fruit. You know what I mean? It's not like I just went and stopped eating fruit or anything like that. But it's just more like I'm trying to relearn how to just be. You know what I mean? And detach myself from a stigma or an ideology that I have to have. You know what I mean? Like I wake up knowing that my spirit comes first. You know, like I am not my body. I am not. You know what I mean? You get me. It's just that it's so much more than material. You know what I mean? It's so much more than the physical. And so shifting my focus on that rather than obsessing over just, what it is that I'm eating, defining me or any group I'm in or what my label might be or how people even perceive me. You know what I mean? Just getting away from these things and really learning myself. Um, because for a long time, sis, my focus was toward really spreading the message of like this is truly the best I've ever felt, and it was for the longest. And truthfully, nothing for me feels better than when I'm just strictly on a mono fruit diet
Same,
or
honestly.
I mean lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because it's not a diet, but you get me. But when you're intaking that, I feel so perfect. But like the thing is, I realized I was just I can't. I haven't learned how to properly do that and build muscle yet. You know what I mean? Like I was detoxing so much, I was weak. You know what I mean? And I realized that there's things I need to pivot and adjust. And clearly I'm doing something wrong, so I need to relearn myself and relearn other things. I need to take time away to practice new things and attain new levels of self mastery in that way. And that really came with isolation, that came with meditation, that came with really stopping my speech and listening. You know what I mean? Being more quiet, shutting out a lot of unnecessary distraction, which is why I did leave social media. Not that social media was bad for me, but it was just something that I knew would take me away from my current goal.
Mm, I feel
You
that.
know? Yeah. And so things like this podcast, I'm grateful for because, I can still connect with people. I can still let people know I'm doing good and where I am. But, I'm just trying to work on self so that way I can come back to the community better than I was. You know what I mean? I just have things I have to work through, and it's a really beautiful, humbling journey too. Because, like I said, I'm practicing the art of detachment. You know what I mean? Like I'm taking every experience as a lesson, and what is this trying to teach me, and what is it doing for me? And I think it's beautiful being able to learn more about myself, so I know what to do and what not to do.
Hmm.
And I think really the biggest thing I've been doing is taking more leaps of faith. Really tapping into that unknown and not thinking about it in a fearful way, but a faithful way, and really shifting my perspective like that has really made a lot of difference for me.
Mm. I think it's super dope that we could come to the realizations that, because I feel like especially when you're on social media and you start to grow a following, and especially if it's for a specific thing, your followers will try to typecast you and make it to where they only want you to make that kind of content. And so you're not allowed to fully be yourself on your platform. I mean, you are allowed to, but not without a backlash or resistance. Like, you can't give an authentic thought about something that is not related to health without people being like, just stick to fruit. So it's like, I think it's dope that we start to realize and make the connection that how easily influenced we can become into almost being at war with ourselves because of how we want to live in alignment with how people perceive us to be, like what they want us to be or who they think we are. Like, I always talk about very openly, especially when I was like a couple years ago, a year ago, doing challenges and stuff and like being consistent for a minute, but then having strong cravings and then caving into those cravings and then kind of going through that cycle for a little bit, a week or two. And then in the meantime, I'm still only posting the healthy content
Yeah.
or the healthy foods that I'm eating. But in the background, I'm not taking a picture of my Chipotle burrito, you know? So then that would create conflict inside of me, and it shouldn't matter, but it did because I wanted to be perceived. I wanted to stay known as the perception online, even though I felt conflict about it because I was doing the complete opposite in the background, and it can create like that
Internal, yeah.
and it shouldn't matter, right? Like, it just really shouldn't matter, like, at the end of the day, but we put so much pressure on ourselves if we don't catch ourselves because we're trying to keep up with the perception. And that's why sometimes it is important to, for me, just get offline for a little bit because it's not the internet's problem. Like, they didn't do anything wrong. This is the frequency I put out there, so they inspired by it. It's the frequency that they look forward to and kind of expect over time. But sometimes it's not the frequency I want to be in, And then I had to learn that there's nothing wrong with not wanting to be in a certain frequency at that time. So I had to come back to myself without the audience, kind of be in my own solitude to kind of figure out, why do you care about what people think? Like, that's a me problem. I had to work out. So I think it's dope when like we find our own reasons for why we kind of need to get back to self and focus on growing without the eyes. Like, I'm introverted, like through and through. I'm like, the most social I am is really on social media, which is why I also got off social media, so I could be more intentional about pouring into real life relationships that I have. Because it's so easy to substitute even our friends and our family that we know in real life, just the interactions with hitting a like or commenting on a post that they have. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking that's a connection, but it's not. Like, you live in the same city. Like, get in your car and go and see your mother. Like, get in the car and go and chill with your brothers. Like, get in the car and like I needed to start being more intentional about like actual connections because I was like hella depressed in real life. Like, because I was not getting real human to human, like physical interaction. And that's super important too. Like, health isn't just food, it's about human touch.
Yeah, because we are, we are. Well, let's talk about this. You remember when we did that, the whole thing with the chakras? Were you part
Yes.
of it? So we still do that. So like today, it being the third eye, right? It's about connectivity, and when you're in connectivity, it's another word I like to use. It's just community. You know what I mean? Like when you have a community around you, that's how we thrive as people. We are community, we are connectivity based, and we thrive in those environments. So when we make uh online more prevalent than, you know, our real life scenarios. When we kind of, it just becomes difficult to navigate when you're not there, and then it becomes a crutch. And then I mean, but it's just a hard thing to control because it's not, it's still virtual, you know what I mean? It's still a part of a matrix, you know what I mean? And it's still just a program. So, you know, if you're not careful, you can get lost in it. And, you know, it's that's why it's important to find balance, though. Like, it's important to have balance in these things, and because if you can't control yourself in these environments, you could slip, you know, and it can become a negative space. And I think that Facebook has been nothing but a positive space for me. You know what I mean? I got some of the best things that have happened in my life, sis, has really been because of Facebook, like getting back on a face, like, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure social media keeps continuing to be a place of peace for me, and when I'm there. And if it ever isn't for whatever reason, you know what I mean, I'm just not gonna be on there like that. And I know the best thing about the community, though, that we've all built, right? I feel like it's the same way I look at nature. Like, nature doesn't, like, you've been inside all day, right? You go out to nature and you find peace. I feel like the
Mhm.
community's like that. They're not going to be like, you know, feeling some type of way about where I've been. It's just like, oh, open arms, like, hey, we love you, we miss you, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like
It's
what's good
true.
with you? What's going on? And that's why I think it's a beautiful space still, because it's a healing thing. It's a healing community. Like, and I just don't believe it to be a toxic space when you just take care of yourself in a way that doesn't allow you to lose control over it.
Yeah, it only becomes toxic if you make it a toxic experience, you
Right.
know, and that's if there's a battle within. You're gonna be uncomfortable in any environment, period, whether that's online, offline, because you can never run away from yourself at the end of the day.
Mm.
Um, but whatever you need to do at any given moment, just so a thing with me with social media, which I love, which is why I'm back on it. Honestly,
Mm.
like I take breaks, and I've always been like that, and that's
Yeah.
just something I do for myself. But I always come back. I take breaks and I come back. I take breaks and I come back. Um, what was I getting ready to say? I feel like I lost my thought. But
Coming back to social media.
yeah,
Um,
there's something that I love that I said I loved about it. Ugh,
mhm.
my brain. Yeah, it'll probably come back to me. But I do appreciate social media for the reasons that you said. Number one, the community. There are people that I would never know in real life, such as yourself, if it wasn't for Facebook, if it wasn't for like-minded people coming together for the sole purpose of healing for any reason at all, and making real connections. So there's nothing fake about the connections that we have on these platforms, because there are people that you meet on here that you feel more family than your actual blood relatives. And it ain't
Honestly.
nothing to hop on a plane, you know, to really go and top it up. It ain't nothing to do that. So it's definitely like a very beautiful thing. For me, it's important to use social media strategically
Yeah.
now, though. Like for me, I want to use it as a tool
Yeah.
to provide value, to not come on here and just take away from it, but
Yeah.
come as a to create a platform where we can share real people who's had real experiences. Because I remember coming into this space with my own issues, health issues, and all that 5 years ago, and being so grateful for YouTube, for people who is willing to share
Yeah.
their life and their experiences on video. It was better than TV. You can't go on cable TV and learn about a raw vegan's experience. You can't go, you know, like you're not going to turn on the news and they're going to give us all of this raw, authentic information about how people are healing their bodies naturally just by simply eating fruits and raw vegetables, and teaching us all these alternative ways of healing, like breath work, and like just really knowing the science of spiritualism in a sense, because it's like it all starts in the mind at the end of the day. And if it wasn't for people creating platforms and having interviews and letting people share their stories, I would have never felt or believed that I was capable of also achieving that thing, because I only had the opinion of a doctor at one point that told me there was nothing that could be done about it. I'd be on medication my entire life. But then there's these people who have experiences, not hearsay from a doctor who's never had what I have, but telling me there's nothing that can be done. And these are the pharmaceuticals you're going to have to be on for the rest. I remember when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, I was like 21 years old. And I was like, okay, no, I was like 24, I think. And I was like, okay, so how long do I have to take these? And he was like, oh no, you have to take these forever. And that didn't sit right with me. And I didn't take them at all. And so I was like, ain't no way I'm taking these forever, because I looked at the side effects. And the side effects is crazy. I was like, and then that's what led me though to like alternative information. If the internet didn't exist, so it's important for me to not come online just to be a jokester anymore and to only share things like, no, like come on here with a purpose and like create a platform, create conversations, because we are stamping ourselves in history right now. These videos that we have on here, it's in the internet. It's on the, we're going to be long gone at some point, but our content will be teaching generations 100 years or 200 years from now, possibly, if it's still in the cloud, and nothing ever really goes away anymore.
Right.
Oh.
No, yeah, it's just becoming more important to me to like you said, leave your mark, you know what I mean, leave your footprint. Like what am I gonna be able to do to leave, my future children? What am I gonna be able to do to leave a mark on the people that are experiencing life with me right now? You know what I mean? And I don't want to. I like to say this a lot. I'm so grateful that I've come to this level of understanding and knowing at the age I am, because I have a lot of time, creator willing to fix a lot of things with myself, to redo life the right way in a lot of ways. To me, like I have a second chance at life, to me, sis. Like I really am so grateful every day I wake up, and I really do believe it to be a celebration of life every day when I rise, because I really have a second chance to do things the right way. And I really want to make an impact on the people that are here with me in this experience. Like, and I really want to, touch and change as many people's lives as I can for the better. And I have a great opportunity to do so and continue to cultivate myself and learn about myself and learn more about the world and put into practice, and just I got a lot to do here. Like, we are all chosen for this, you know what I mean? And it's the hardest thing ever to step into this world that is so opposite from us.
Mm-hmm.
And continue to put good energy forth and stand in our power when it's not suitable for us. Like, you know what I mean? During the times where we might not feel like it, or during the times where we might be confused or conflicted, like, we gotta still stand on 10 toes and be sturdy in our foundation and meet that energy with our energy, because our energy is the highest vibratory energy on the planet. You know what I mean? And we were chosen for this at the end of the day. So the thing I've been saying is, whose hands would I rather have than my own? You know what I mean? To be able to continue to change the world, and change myself for the better at that too. And so it's things like the positivity that you bring to people. Like, you know what I mean? I just think people need to shift their perspective to more positive thinking. Like, you know what I mean? It's the stories that we tell ourselves that are true, whether they're whatever you tell yourself, you're right at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell yourself, not everything is always positive. No, I'm not acting like that. But what is true is that I can control my attitude toward things,
Mm-hmm.
and how those and that will shape my outcome.
Yeah.
You know.
Attitude will always affect the outcome for sure. Because if you jump straight into victimhood mentality as soon as something doesn't go your way, um, it almost makes you shut down and not become solution oriented, and things only get worse from there.
Hey, hold on, sis. Let me tap out and tap back in. I can't hear you anymore.
Okay. Let's see. Look at the comments. Being more intentional online. Yes, like for me, being intentional is very important. Let's get that back
There,
on.
there we go.
You good? Yeah. So it's important that when we're showing up, we're representing ourselves in the best ways that feel right for us. And no matter what stage we're at in our life, that's just the stage where we're at. Like, have you ever looked at, I don't know how long you've had social media, but like, or Facebook, but have you ever looked at like your old post from like 2011, 2012 when Facebook first kind of got started popping? And I know that I was probably like, how old was I back then? I was definitely like in my early 20s, and if not like 20s or something. But it's just like so funny looking at a lot of those old posts or even some of my friends' posts from that time, 2011. We used to type in like literally lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, uppercase. We used to do all kinds of crazy stuff. We'll be in there talking about all kinds of crazy stuff, talking about haters, or it was just funny to think about the kind of things that was on our mind back then. Or we would like post on our friend's Facebook wall, like saying something crazy. Like it was just like when you think about your evolution from when you were so much
Mm,
younger
mm,
to like as you age, even like some of my old memories of the food I would eat when I was making like shrimp fettuccine and just like all of this stuff that I used to like cook, like chicken,
yeah,
like
yeah.
seeing some of that stuff pop up on my timeline, or me with a bottle of wine, my glass of wine, or just being out with my friends and we got drinks in our
Yeah.
hands at the club, like just seeing that at that stage and that phase of my life. And it's just like that's there forever. And it's
Hmm.
like this record of like where I started to kind of where I evolved. And it's just interesting watching all of that because really, again, when we're gone, if we have children or family members, or they're going to be looking at all, like that's the legacy that we have, but they get to see the evolution and the
Mm,
maturity over time, and they get to realize that I'm in this stage of my life that my auntie was, or something like that, or my mom or my dad was, but she turned out to become a doctor or whatever it is, or become somebody who influenced thousands of people to heal their bodies or whatever the case is. And so it's just like being intentional. Before we weren't intentional about, at least I know I wasn't, about my usage online at a certain age, because I wasn't thinking business minded. This was
yeah,
just recreational.
you're
It
just
was
young, you know.
yeah. But over time, life gets more serious, so I have to get more serious. And then I become more intentional about what I choose to share because your passions change and all of that. But as we mature, I do think it makes sense to be intentional about how you, I won't even say present yourself, but about what you choose to put out there as far
Mhm.
as the frequency goes.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it really is a thing about protecting your peace because you are sharing a lot, and not everything needs to be shared in that space. You know what I mean? Like vulnerability, like the world doesn't need to know the full scope of you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
social media shouldn't be, like I don't want anybody to portray a fake persona on social media. You know what I mean? Like I don't want you to be out here just straight up lying to people. But what I just mean is like you just don't need to be as personable with everything. Like you know what I mean? Like one thing you said earlier was like fitting into a certain type of stigma with people that may follow you and stuff like that. Like when I come back on social media, like I don't know, like I'd be totally cool with like posting what I had for a meal that wasn't fruit. You know what I mean? Just or anything. You know what I mean? Like post, but again, it's a certain amount of things that like. Why am I getting on social media? Like, is it to speak my business? Like, not really. Like, I'm not here to speak my whole business. My business is mine to mind my business. You know what I mean? But I think intention is super important for everything we put into, because without intention, you just kind of run ragged. You know what I mean? You run wild. Who knows what can happen? Who knows what people you might hurt in that way if you don't have intention, or if you might be hurting yourself if you don't have intention. You know what type of energy are you putting out without intent? Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I used to be very messy. You know what I mean? And I look back at a lot of those things and I'm like, man, I didn't have a hold over myself. You know, like I don't like that. Like I need to get myself in control. You know what I mean? I was just kind of doing whatever and not having any self-respect.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have utmost self-respect for myself. You know what I mean? And I am very particular with what I choose to share with people. You know what I mean? What I choose to even speak on. You know, because all these things are powerful energies. You know what I mean? Our actions, our words, our what we share. They manifest when we give energy to them, whether we like it or not. You know what I mean? And Um, so I think intention has to be at the forefront of everything we do, you know, especially when we traverse social media, because we're literally sharing it to, everybody.
And once it's on there, it's on there.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely been messy in my social media days, like, and not even me posting anything being messy, but seeing what like a friend or a family member posted, screenshotted it, and said, "Did you see this?" And, because it's
Yeah.
like once
Wow.
it's on
Yeah.
there, once
Right.
it's on there, everybody does see it. So when you crash it out publicly, everybody looking and talking in the background. So you just got to be careful about what you share. And like you said, social media is not no diary either. We
Yeah.
don't have to be telling everybody everything. Who cares if you ate something in the background? Who cares? Nobody cares more than you. Like ain't nobody thinking about, oh, I bet Lachey right now is over there eating a Beyond Burger. Like
Yeah. That damn
eh,
Lachey's she eating French fries, man. Like, who, like, okay, you should
you're
probably figure
right.
out.
Ain't nobody cares. So but yeah, to say all that to say, like I like to use it more. So sometimes I have to take a break off of it to collect myself and really know why I'm doing this, about the impact that I want to
Yeah.
have at the end of the day, and I want to have impact. I don't only want to get on here um just to like. And so this is one thing I wanted to say. I appreciate everybody's role in the community, no
Yeah.
matter who they are, no matter who they are. If they are the most strict raw vegan, the most strict fruitarian, like if they are a strict vegan, if they are whole food plant based, if they are, I appreciate everybody who plays their role and plays it well, even if there's a disagreement in messaging and all of that. And I only say that because we're not meant to be the same. And there's going to be certain messages that affected me when I was coming up that I feel like, okay, that can be damaging, that can become problematic depending on the personality receiving that information. And that can all be true. But that's why I even started talking about this, like coming back in here more intentionally with a specific platform so
Hmm.
that I can reach those people that struggle,
Yeah.
because I can only come from a perspective of my own personal experience. So my experience is that sometimes I would be perfectly fine, and then I would see a post come across my Facebook feed where they're like, rice is poison, it's arsenic, it's like these like really crazy, like, or cooked food is cancerous. It creates like I don't know, I don't know. I can't even think of the word right now, but like even if there's truth to it, there are people transitioning right now. So you
Hmm.
have people who's eating some quinoa and some sauteed veggies. You have them thinking that they're giving themselves cancer right now. Like that's just, for me, I get it. People have programs to sell. So they're gonna say whatever, and it's what is that word? it's like clickbaity. It's like very people are gonna it's gonna attract the audience. So I get it. But at the same time, there are people who do have issues with food and then they're just trying to be healthier. They don't know what to do because they thought they was doing something good for themselves by going whole food plant based because they went and got the what is it that magazine like Forks and Knives, and they
Mm-hmm.
got some recipes on there because there's a story in there where somebody said that they healed their heart disease, they healed their diabetes, and they were no raw vegans. They were no fruitarians. They were eating cooked food, but they took salt out of their diet, they took oil out of their diet, they took sugar out of their diet, but they had brown rice and they had roasted vegetables and they had like these things and they still reverse disease. So there's like no one size fit all, but I still appreciate everybody's role that they play because everybody attracts their own tribe at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day. And they're supposed to reach the people that attract to them. And I created a platform for those people who aspire to get to that person's level, but have a hard time struggling with self-judgment when they don't always make the best choice. So that's why I'm always like, just focus on being better because it's not growth isn't linear. It's not like you're not going to grow in chronological order. Like you're going to just have experiences, you're going to relapse, you're going to learn from it, and then you're going to move. It's easier to move forward if you don't get stuck in that like that shame trap, that guilt trap, that self-judgment trap of thinking that you did something wrong. Like no, it's just that you're repeating a habit uh that you've practiced your entire life, and now you're unlearning how to do that and you're in your rewiring process when you're challenging yourself to eat better. But sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but if you're intentional, you're committed, you're just going to keep pushing forward and keep growing that muscle, and over time it just becomes easier. Then you learn how to accept yourself. Sometimes, like, one of my favorite interviews was the Juice Champs interview with Professor Spira, because he says transitioning is important. You have to build the failure into the plan so that you're not in your head about it, trying to be 100% perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, transition. The key, I think, the key is really just like be kind to yourself through transition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, everything grows with kindness. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be mad at something like that's a frequency. You know what I mean? That's a death frequency. You know what I mean? To be beating yourself up and to be talking down at yourself and to not be speaking life amongst yourself. Like, everybody, no matter what, like you hit it on the head, is we're all always changing. We're always in a mode of transition at the end of the day. Like, our bodies are always adapting, our bodies are always growing, our bodies are always going swaying one way or another on those poles you were talking about at the beginning. Like, and we just have to meet ourselves with kindness, because if the I know the world is already, not kind. You know what I mean? The world is going to test you. The world's going to beat you up and throw things at you. So if you don't meet yourself with that kindness, you know what I mean? Don't expect anybody else to come through in your times of need like that. Like, transition is the most uncomfortable thing ever again because you're dealing with the unknown. And you know what I mean? I'm speaking of a personal experience. You know what I mean? I'm going through. I'm uncomfortable a lot of days because I haven't. It's been 2 years of detox for me, sis. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to meet myself with kindness every single day, learning how to love myself. You know what I mean? Still, and but knowing that just comes with the kindness. You know what I mean? The calmness of like, hey, it's okay. You're just learning. Like, you know what I mean? It's new. It's a new thing that you're trying to traverse and navigate through, and that's all right. I am just not gonna sit here and judge myself because no one has the right to judge anybody. You know what I mean? But we all have the right to take care of ourselves, right? And we all have the obligation, I believe, to love ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we were A lot of us were never taught how to do that, you know what I mean, the right way. Like we have to unlearn who we are not to understand who we truly are. And we were taught a lot of the wrong things. Like most of the things we were taught our whole life is the wrong thing. And it's not like, you know, everyone says you can't just fix yourself overnight. Like it's a whole learning process here. And I just I just think, you know, it is the shift right now of people that are waking up and doing, and but the thing is we're finally, I feel like, at the right trajectory. Things are finally turning for the better, you know what I mean? People are finding that healing, people are finding that, I just see people getting better all the time, you know. And the more and more we pour that self-kindness and self-love into our transition, you know, the more we're going to be able to complete that purpose and be aligned in that passion, you know. And that's why I'm thankful for platforms like this. That's why I'm thankful for people like this, you know what I mean? Because the only way we all got here in the first place is being kind to ourselves. You know what I mean? So why would, I mean, there's no reason why we need to stop that trajectory. Like, you know what I mean? Just because you and I are different than how we were, it's because we keep growing. It's because we're evolving. You know what I mean? We need to focus less on, okay, what do I still need to do? But look how far I've come. You know what I mean? Look what I've already done. Like, look what I've already endured. Look at the battles I've already won. Like, let that fuel you to know how powerful you are in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And then be kind to yourself that way by reminding yourself, oh man, I have done this for myself. I do want change for myself, and that in itself is enough. You know what I mean? And I think that's beautiful to know that just you might have not even started yet, but the fact that you want to change yourself is everything. You know what I mean? Like
Desire.
see how far you've come in life, you know what I mean? And how much more beautiful things will come from that when you just meet yourself with that kindness, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to have, you're never going to have everything figured out. Like happiness is the journey. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have the journey to be happy. Like happiness is truly the point. So don't miss the
Mm-hmm.
point. You know what I mean? I tell myself all the time, like, don't miss the point. Like you prayed for another day. Here it is. What are you going to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
And you prayed to be better. You prayed to be healed, and you are healing, but you are so much healthier than you were. What are you going to do with that? Today, did I mess up a little bit? Today, did I learn something new about myself? Yeah, but look where I am. I'm standing in what I wanted. So I'm gonna take that opportunity and run with it and meet myself with that kindness.
Right. It's so like a lot of times we can be so intentional about putting our energy into something that we want to accomplish or do or be. But imagine if like we knew how to have so much emotional control or emotional maturity that we got up every day and was like, I'm choosing to be happy today. Like I'm literally going to upload happiness into my algorithm, and
Yeah.
no matter what it is I do, no matter what happens today, no matter what, I'm just going to experience that like with contentment, with
Hmm.
happiness, with peace in my heart, and like just make that decision every single day, and then you're going to have a great day. No matter what happens in that day, it's going to be a great day because
Yeah.
there's a level of you've grounded yourself in contentment, with with happiness, with peace, and like even if something happens, another emotion comes into play based on something that could happen, whether that's an extreme. It's like that's that's okay too, because that's just natural. Like that's how we're alive, we're human, like we're gonna feel. Like that's why we're here, to feel. That's how we make decisions, that's how we evolve, by feeling. So it's actually something to be grateful for when you are depressed, because that means you are experiencing like life. Like that's an aspect of there are people who made plans for their life that just aren't even here now. So like just being grateful for sadness and being great, like in a conscious way. If you decide, if something happens and you become sad, like if we had enough emotional maturity to be like, I'm so grateful to be experiencing the emotion of sadness right now, because I wouldn't be able to experience this emotion of sadness if God didn't deem me fit to still be here today to carry out my mission. And it's just like learning how to hack our brains in that sense so that we can get through our days not feeling way down and not feeling like we're like kind of trapped in victimhood. Like, oh, why is everything happening to me? Instead of like being like, okay, what is this trying to teach me?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean that's really how you got to look at it. Because with any, like you said about the polls earlier, like when one thing is true, that there is sadness, but after sadness, what happens? You know what I mean? There is happiness. You know what I mean? Like one cannot exist without the other one. Like, you know what I mean? To understand true meaning like that, you really have to go through the hard times, but that builds patience, and which in turn builds peace. You know what I mean? So when things happen to me, I know that I'm gonna get through it, and it's gonna be beautiful on the other side. Like, man, when I'm going through it, like I always say this nowadays, like when if I'm detoxing, or if I'm going through a rough patch, like I really do sit there and say, like, I got this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have myself. I catch myself, and I'm like, yes, like this is gonna be good for me, you know. And that's just, you hit it perfect. Like, what is this experience gonna do for me? Like, the universe is happening and working with you and for you.
mm-hmm,
Like, the universe isn't gonna work against itself. It's working for you. So
mm-hmm.
how are you gonna take that and move forward with it? Like, because the second you try to, deny the sadness, you don't sit with it, you're just never gonna get to the healing part. That's the thing, though. You're never, if you stay stuck on that pole, you can never transmute it to the other side. You know what I mean? I think, shoot, man, life is just beautiful, isn't it? It's
You
just
ever notice? No, go ahead. Not when you finish
no,
your
no, no.
thought.
I was just saying, like, man, sis, like, honestly, I've had a beautiful last, I don't know how many months. Like, every single day, I'm just in such joy and gratitude. Like, I truly do walk in celebration every day, and I'm really having a beautiful experience. You know.
That's beautiful, and I love that for you. You notice how when you like when you pray for something and you pray hard and you pray with
Yeah.
intent. It doesn't have to be praying for a physical thing. It could be. I tend to find myself really um, going into prayer for certain characteristic traits that I feel like keep me stagnant sometimes, like
Mhm.
certain characteristic traits that tend to come up every time it's time for me to level up in life. Certain fear start kicking in and it keeps me from moving forward and it makes me inactive. It keeps me in that over analysis paralysis, like like this fear of success, because like I know that the amount of
Yeah.
energy I'm going to have to put into it for it to be accomplished. And I
Mhm.
noticed that when I pray real hard with tears in my eyes, everything, because I just really want to overcome that blockage within, it always gets answered with challenges. Like
Yes.
literally, my life gets a little bit harder. Like, and
Yes.
that's been happening to me recently. Like past couple days, like cell phone, like literally just completely died on me like 3 nights
Mhm.
ago, and I could not afford a new phone. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, if it's not one thing, it's another. Like, I have all of these like financial things that I've been working through on payment plans. Like, I'm doing everything that I can, but I feel like every time I'm ready to, like, when I'm getting ahead, things tend to get a little bit harder or something, but, and when I try to challenge myself, or when I do challenge myself or make decisions to challenge myself, I'm the blockage, not the challenge in and of
Yeah.
itself. I'm
Yeah.
the mountain that I need to climb,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then I got the phone situation taken care of, got a new phone. All right, whew, worked that out. I complained and vented a little bit, but it worked. God made it happen. Then my car, I'm driving on the highway. It just get loud out of nowhere. I'm like, bro, I can't. But you know what? It forces me to lock in on the solution. And
Yeah.
then I solve the problem, and all the things I worried about I never had to worry about them because I made it worse in my head than what the actual outcome was. And then I made it through, but that helped grow me in a way because those challenges that came up that cost me a little bit more money that I didn't really had because I had to rob Peter to pay Paul essentially. It made me it forced the characteristic traits that I prayed for because now I got up a little bit earlier and started working even harder. Now I
Yeah.
have more desire and more drive to
Yeah.
actually work harder. Like, because it's like, damn, I got to make up for this. I got to do this. And so, like, I'd be praying for things thinking God's just going to miraculously just like breathe the characteristic trait into me. But
Oh,
God gives me the challenges that's going to force me to rise into that
yeah.
characteristic trait.
Indeed, struggle does indeed build character, and like I think the words you're speaking on, like you pray for things like faith, you pray for things like perseverance, you pray for things like strength. You know what I mean? You pray for things like just patience and the willingness to be able to get through struggle. But then that's what like you prayed for that moment. You know what I mean? Like you prayed for the opportunity to meet that moment
Mm,
and overcome it. Like you're getting exactly what you wanted. You know what I mean? But you just can't see that because it's like, oh well, like shit. You know what I mean? Like, well, this is terrible. But
mm,
when you see it as, okay, this is the time where I step up and walk how I talk. This is the time where I walk how I want to be, what I see in my vision, what I've been seeing in my third eye, what I visualize not by sight but my faith. You know what I mean? This is what it truly means to tap into your God mind. This is what it truly means to be all is mental. You know what I mean? Like you are truly walking in God at that point. And
mm,
that's what you prayed for. Like that's how you overcome.
mm-hmm.
You know, and so all these things just made you better and you got what you prayed for.
Yeah, for
Truly, you
real.
got what you paid for. And then that's another thing you should, hype yourself up about a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Don't walk in it's not a prideful thing, it's not an ego thing, but man, I did a good job. Celebrate that. Like I overcame today. Like,
Mm-hmm.
celebrate that battle that you overcame.
Yeah, and
Or
it's
you
true.
gotta yeah,
Be
you
careful
got a
what you
little
pray
closer.
for because
Yeah.
you're gonna get it, and it is not gonna come through a lottery ticket. It's gonna come through something being taken away from you that you're gonna be forced to work really hard for because it's
Yeah.
something you need to maintain the path that you're on or for you to get to the next level. So it's such as life. Like challenges are for us. They're not happening to us because we're being punished or cursed or, it's like it's a challenge for us because if a lot of us didn't end up with mental health issues or physical health issues, or even if some of us weren't born into bad families or whatever the case is, you wouldn't have had to develop into the strong amazing human being that has accomplished so much,
Hmm.
that has been able to be this version of yourself that you are today. There are some people who have life really easy, like they never really had to work for anything and they don't know how to do anything for themselves, like at all. Like, don't give them, take away all their family's money or something like that. They're going to crumble, because they've just gone way too many years in their life with privilege. So now they've got to learn how to adjust to being a completely different version of themselves that they never thought that they would have to be. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's a blessing in disguise to come up in these hard situations and circumstances because it refines us, it sharpens us, it makes us these strong, resilient versions of ourselves. Like things don't ever get better or easier. We just get stronger and we
Yeah.
become the kind of people who
Yeah.
know how to work ourselves through those situations because we've already been through it before. We've already overcame that challenge. So we already know how to handle it. They
Mm.
say a millionaire can lose all of his money and he'll be a millionaire again in a year or two because he has what it takes to make that kind of money because he's already accomplished it before.
Hmm. Yeah, indeed. Like that's to me that's the best part about life is that you get opportunity. You know what I mean? Like you get another chance when you wake up every day, like to do whatever it is you so desire. You know what I mean? That's why you have to take every day with that seriousness, and that respect. You know what I mean? It's like I was gifted another day today with an opportunity to do whatever so I desire. You know what I mean? And I will not waste that precious time given. You know what I mean? And time wasted doesn't have to mean anything, but like it's about time well spent.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, how are you really utilizing the opportunities that you're presented with? You know, are you making the same mistakes without learning the lesson? You know what I mean? Because what was the mistake without the lesson? And when you give your heart to something and stay strong about it and really stand about your business, I mean, those things. That's how you stay in alignment. You know what I mean? You're putting your best efforts forward, and you're truly, walking in that faith, standing in your power, doing right by things and how they should be treated with respect, not just throwing life away for the gift that it is, but treating it with that just due.
Yep. For It's not about the quantity of life. I don't think none of us should worry about trying to live 100 years, 200 years, being obsessed with living this really long. I mean, that's a blessing if that's the reality. But people die from things they have no control over every day. Some people get hit with stray bullets, and they had a plan for that day. Some people get hit by cars. Some people get into tragic car accidents. We don't know how we're going to go. It's about the quality of life, not
Yeah,
the quantity of life. So it is important to get up every day, really, again, with that intention to have the best experience, no matter what it is you're doing in that day, doing it with a smile, like making human connections, but being kind to people, just simply saying, hi, how are you? Making eye contact and smiling with someone. Hi, how are you? I'm good. Kicking up small talk, having like, and I'm not one for small talk, but I'm starting to realize just the value and being kind
yeah,
to
yeah,
strangers. Like, who are you when when you don't have your mask on, when you're not trying to be the best first impression just to maintain the best impression of yourself, your performance, the character that you put on for everybody, your identity, your ego. Take that away. A person who you know that you're just going to simply walk past them and probably never see them again. Who are you in that moment? Are you a kind person who just smiles at a stranger and says, hey, how are you doing? Or you see something wrong and you go out of your way to help? Or are you one to pull out your cell phone so that you can get a viral moment? Like, what quality human being are you at
yeah.
the end of
Like,
the day?
I challenge that, because not challenge that, but like I agree with you, but I would say it like this. I rephrase it. What kind of spirit are you?
Mm,
Like, because I see people as energy. You know what I mean? I see people as they are. Like, I know we're all human in this material, but like, what is your character? Like, who are you? Like, what is the vehicle that drives you? You know what I mean? And how do we respond to that? Because energy is literally the best, most powerful form of communication. You show me how you feel. You know what I mean? I don't need to hear anything. Like, it's felt. Like, you know how deep this stuff goes, sis. Like, when you get to a certain point and you see aura, you feel energy like nothing, like never before in your life. And so
mhm.
it's that palpable with everybody you meet. You know what I mean? You immediately know whether it's for you or not for you. So I mean, literally just walking in good spirit every day is how, again, it's observation without judgment. You know what I mean? But if I observe something that's not for me, I leave it be. And it's just not for me. And if I observe something that is for me, I firmly believe that I don't chase it either. I attract it because I put in good spiritual energy out into the universe, and I don't expect anything back. But that's again how the universe works with itself. You know what I mean?
I
You
love
shouldn't,
that.
yeah, like you shouldn't expect anything different if you put out the right things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Mm.
I feel
So
like it's like spiritual energy tithing. Like you get up and you pay your tithes every day by just giving good energy every
yeah,
day. Like just being that person that offers a helping hand or an ear, or just however way that you can be of service to someone. without expecting anything really does create the best universal karma. Um, and really good spirits have good lives. And it doesn't mean they have perfect lives, like they don't go through challenges, because we all need challenges to grow.
Yeah.
Nobody gets anything too easily, and those who do, there's a price for that too. Or maybe they have amazing karma because whoever they were in their past life, like they skated, like, they were the best human being or something. Maybe they earned, this peaceful life. Like I believe in spirit contracts or soul contracts. Like we come here to have specific experiences because, like, I don't know if you ever listened to Dolores Cannon, but I love when she talks about spirit contracts. And also, what's her name? Caroline Meese. She talks a lot about that too, soul contracts. And she says that, some people, some spirits or souls come into this realm from a really hard life and decide, you know what, I really want a soft life. I want to have a really easy life. I want to get born into this family, and my spirit needs a break from the struggling and from the grief and from this and that. um and do with that with information what you will to the listener. But life is just like a beautiful chaotic mess. Like we don't know, we're just here experiencing it, but we don't know anything. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, we can program all the information inside of ourselves that we want, and we can have certain experiences, but even sometimes our experiences can be contradicted, like as we continue to grow. Sometimes we think we know it all because we've had a certain level of experience, until we continue to have experiences that eventually you see even supersedes that, the impact of that past experience. Like you realize you could debunk your own experiences as you
Yeah.
evolve. Like, so we don't know anything. We're
No,
just
yeah.
experiencing.
I mean, yeah, I know what I know, but I'm never not gonna be a student. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna be above knowledge. You know what I mean? It's just like you said, like we have no idea. But that's the beautiful part because we can create our own reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With what I do know, I can apply and create everything I want from that knowledge. And even further than that, I can create anything that I want from the unknown. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but what I can do, and that is create the best possible outcome. Whether that be, this good of an outcome or that good of an outcome. Like I don't know, but I know that when I put my best forward, that the best outcome will present itself to me. And and I love that. You know what I mean? So I don't need to know everything, but I know what I know and I love what I know. And I will continue to grow and know more, learn more things. You know what I mean? And I love getting answers. Like I love figuring new stuff out about myself. I love figuring new stuff out about the universe. And I'm just thankful to be in this experience. I'm thankful to be connected to everybody I know. Like, you know what I mean? I'm grateful that my spirit chose this one for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying every experience, every opportunity, and I'm just grateful for it.
Mm-hmm. Amen. So I guess we'll end it on that note. We're at the 1 hour 13 minute mark. This was a beautiful conversation. I know it's getting late and you done already had you back to back with it. You full time
Oh
tonight.
yeah. Double feature, baby.
For real.
It
Your throat chakra has been
is
radiating
working.
today. For real. That's what's up though. Thank you so much for coming on, Matt. I really appreciate you. Um, Thank you again, Nigeria. She made the connection um, to help make this happen. Miss the Fit Model.
Oh
She's like
yeah.
the biggest fan. She said, I just love Matt's voice and calming spirit. I don't have much to comment. I'd be so in tune just listening. I feel you. You've always had that vibe too, just super laid back, that West Coast. Like, I don't know, you just got this vibe. But
I don't know. I just like to bring about peace. That's all. You know what I mean? I just, I think peace of mind is just a beautiful thing, and I think a gift of mine that a lot of people remind me of a lot that I like to bring to the forefront is just share peaceful energy and love when you can, like if I have love to give and I have a peaceful energy to give, like who am I to hold that back from the world? You know what I mean? Like I need to make sure that I stay sturdy and protect my peace so I can offer that. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily see myself as any type of way, but a lot of people have told me like, yeah, man, like I come to you a lot for peace, and I really do appreciate those that let me know, because it makes me remember like just be yourself. You know what I mean? You'll change a lot of people's outlooks, and you'll make people's days better and things like that. So again, gratitude for bringing me on. Gratitude for everybody that's listening. I just hope that this conversation brought you a little bit more peace.
Amen. Amen. Love you guys. Uh, Thank you again for coming on. You guys don't know this person that I have coming on next Saturday, but she's so dope. I have to iron the details out, but she has agreed to come on, and it's for this in the spirit of February, Valentine's Day, love. She's a self-love coach, and I love her content. I ran into her on TikTok, and she was kind and gracious enough to accept my invitation. So that, and Nigeria, I tell you, she just might as well be my social media manager, because
You
she was like, I think it would be a good idea if you got somebody on about love, since that. And I'm like, you know what? That's a dope idea. And I have a person in mind. So I have this woman coming on, and that's going to be really nice. So
That's
I'll
dope.
see you guys next weekend. Thank you again, Matt. Do you have any lasting words? Is there anything you have going on that you want to share? Any services or anything like that before we wrap
Uh,
up? I will give everybody the
First,
opportunity.
I see my sister Faith's comment. Faith, hit me up. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Let's transmute energy. Let's get to it. Hit me up, sis.
Mhm.
You're never by yourself in this. You have a community. You have a tribe of people behind you that love you, and that goes for everybody that knows me or not. Like, what I mean, tap into your community more, because isolation again is not where we thrive. You know what I mean? It's important to go through things by yourself, but you're never by yourself in this, yo. Like, it's important to tap into the people that'll help you out. But other than that, y'all, like, again, just trying to get better so I can bring y'all, you know, more good things. And I got stuff in the works for sure, but that will be seen,
So
by
is you and Tiger's show, is that a reoccurring thing, or is that just like
yeah.
a pop-up thing?
So we
So,
Tiger and I we do our generational healing podcast every Saturday. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Um, yeah, and we just really want to use that platform to bring about different perspectives of what it's like to have people. Because I mean, I forget sometimes that I'm very young. You know what I mean, in this community, and to have somebody like Tiger who is truly like my older brother, to be able to have conversations with him from such a different life perspective, and bring people on that have just come from so many different ways of life. I just think it's very good conversations to be had and to be heard. And so if y'all ever want to tap into some good stuff like that, tap in with us, and we'll have a good one.
awesome. And you guys can find him on Facebook at Matthew Pierce. Yeah. So have a good night, everyone. Love you so much. See you next Saturday at 8 p.m. And betterism. Just focus on just being better at being better. And it's not about perfectionism. It's just about being the best version of yourself. Just be better today than you were yesterday. And even if you slip up, like, that's okay. There's always a lesson to learn in that. I love you guys. Bye.
Rest well, sis. Thank you for having me.
Likewise. Good night.
All right.